Bless me.
Excuse me, Captain Kirk.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott.
What a charming negress.
You need to leave.
Nerderotic.com.
You know, this year, 2026, doesn't only mark the 250th anniversary of America. It is the 60th anniversary of Star Trek and the 95th birthday. March 22nd is William Shatner's 95th birthday.
Wow.
And, you know, you think about a venerable franchise. Why has it lasted 60 years? Because it's always been aspirational. It's always been about the fact that you could have opposing points of view and people could still talk it out. You know, there's a great episode called The Private Little War, which is a Vietnam allegory from the second season, where McCoy and Kirk are at each other's throats, debating political philosophy and theory. The Klingons have been arming the village people, and the poor hill people are getting trounced, and Kirk wants to arm them so they can reach parity. And McCoy's like, you can't do that. You're condemning these people to decades of warfare, you know, and these are best friends. And they are at diametrically opposed opposite ends of a spectrum, and they can argue and still love each other.
And now they're just on the spectrum.
Yes. And the idea now is there is no debate. One side, we're so polarized. What Starfleet Academy should have been is a show about mature adults can have disagreement. We can be diametrically opposed. But you know what? We both love apple pie. So let's sit down and enjoy the same thing that we love, which is apple pie, and let's talk about it. That's what Star Trek was all about. It was about intellectual exploration. There were never villains on Star Trek. There were only antagonists.
Yes.
And that was the whole thing. And even in Balance of Terror, the first season of Star Trek, these villainous, sneaky fuckers came over and destroyed Federation outposts, killed people. But at the end of that episode, the Romulan commander, the villain, which, by the way, they completely ripped off this episode in Strange New Worlds and destroyed it, says, in another reality, I could have called you friend, because there was that mutual respect. You could build on that. This is completely gone from our modern Star Trek. There is no maturity. There is no adulthood in any of this. It is all puerile.
Yes.
And no one is aspiring to do anything. These writers are fucking infants. Pardon my French.
Yeah. It's true. You're just waiting for people to make out. Basically.
There's no sophistication in modern Star Trek.
None. Zero. And that, my friends, is the real crime, because they are underserving their audience. Whether they want a younger audience to accept Star Trek or they want to appeal to old fans, what they are not doing is giving us something that is worthy of our attention. And that in itself is their great failing, because they themselves aren't good enough and smart enough to give us that kind of entertainment. And they're getting millions and millions of dollars to do it. And I would say any other business would never hire these people. And we have to watch it year after year. I mean, we don't have to, but I'm compelled to.
We have to.
And I'm more than happy to laugh at them. It's an affront to everybody who's a Star Trek fan. And I've been dealing with it since 2017. And I keep waiting. I go in every time. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But you know what?
Bless you, Robert.
They have let me down because they are less intelligent than their own audience. And they don't know it.
And they have no idea. As you say, Robert, it is a crime against imagination, what they have done.
Yes, it is.
To Star Trek and so many other things.
And against thought and rationality.
Yes, and common sense. Yes.
And
storytelling, which is how we define ourselves.
So I have a question.
Because was it I mean, Gary and Drinker were attacked. It's very difficult when nobody reads the Mary Sue, but they were attacked by the Mary Sue. And one of the things that the fucking Egypt said in the article was
Egypt.
The OG Star Trek, it always leaned on diversity. Kirk kissed Uhura, blah blah. And the idiocy of that is the fact that Uhura, black female, civil rights movement. Chekhov, Russian Cold War. Sulu, Japanese World War II adversary. This wasn't about diversity. This was about the growth of humanity.
Yes, 100, dude. That's why I love you, man. Exactly.
Yes.
And they don't see that. They see the because they are superficial, because there's no depth to their brain. There's no IQ to their thinking. They're low IQ people. So they don't see what was actually truly being told. And that's why you get the brilliance, the brilliant conversation between Uhura and Lincoln, where
in the Savage Curtain.
And he calls her a charming negress. And then he realizes that he may have offended her. He said, "Oh, have I offended her?" The way she shrugs it off is is how perfect it is. Because oh, dude, you talk
in
about
our
stuff from
time,
hundreds of
we
years
were
ago.
not to fear words.
Exactly. And now what? What do we get?
Censorship.
Censorship. The one thing that the very people who claim to champion today's Star Trek, the one thing they fear the most are the words that are coming from other people's mouths.
Yep. And Nichelle Nichols said it, and it was Lincoln who freed the slaves, talking to Uhura. I mean, that episode is not great. I'm going to say it right now, even though there's a lot of Star Trek lore laid in that episode, like Kahless, the leader of the Klingon people, and Surak, who made the Vulcans adapt logic. But that is an amazing. If you think about that, Star Trek was banned in states in the South. Mm-hmm. I mean, there were certain episodes they wouldn't air, and they did it anyway. And it wasn't because they were trying to make a point. They were trying to extrapolate where they hoped humanity would be in the 23rd century.
Yes,
they didn't know, and they weren't looking for brownie points. They weren't looking for street cred or social media credibility. They were just trying to extrapolate what they actually hoped mankind where we would be. And that was the whole thing. It was supposed to be, I look at Starfleet Academy, I don't want to be those people in 1,000 years.
No.
I don't want humanity to be anywhere near that fucking school, because that is an amazing letdown of what humanity and where we should be. That show is an amazing affront.
Remember when Discovery?
The reality is that's where we are now, Robert. It's a reflection of where we are now.
Exactly.
Starfleet Academy is.
But when we were watching Discovery from the start, we suddenly, there was a point where we're just like, wait a minute. Oh, they're being really clever here. We're in the mirror unit. We're in the mirror universe here. And then we're going to be going into the Star Trek universe, and it's going to show what the dystopian future of the current day dystopian future is in Star Trek. No, that was ours, and when it's just like that's what lost so many people.
It's opposing sort of priorities. So in the original Star Trek, they chose from the top down. It was the best people. It was only elite that got in. Whereas now it's like, by no one's definition is the Klingon. He's not the best Klingon by the Klingon's definition or anything else. They found the most pathetic Klingon and thought that they could lift him up to the level of a Starfleet officer. And they've done it with all of them. They've got the worst hologram and thought they could raise them up and train them.
It's Starfleet Special Needs Program.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's just what DEI is. It doesn't take the best people. It takes other people and thinks, well, we can put them in positions. And because everyone's the same, they'll just naturally fill out the capabilities of other people. Yeah. So they created their own competency crisis within Starfleet to protect Earth.
They should have. Why isn't the coolest Klingon character we've ever seen captain or of the War College? Why isn't there an honor tract at Starfleet Academy, where honor, where you apply it to all aspects of your life, taught by the most badass warrior ever that we've ever seen? And it's a Star Trek show, so why do you hybridize characters? Why can't you give us a great Klingon, by the way, why isn't a Romulan teaching at Starfleet Academy? Why aren't they teaching stealth and subterfuge?
Strategy and tactics.
Strategy and tactics. Why is it Vulcan, the Professor Kingsfield Vulcan professor?
And the reality is, as awful as this would be if they did it, because of the technology they have, like, they should 100% be getting like guest lectures by Kirk and Picard and by all these people in history, like appearing as holograms or whatever.
They put them on the wall for sure.
They put them on the wall. Like, 1,000% that should be happening at something like Starfleet, especially when you're restarting Starfleet. Like when you're restarting this academy and you're trying to instill that, bring in all these people from history. Obviously, when we're talking about the show, there's like other problems about like the idea of doing something like that.
Well, Robert, you brought this up. The idea of going so far ahead. So they're 800 years past Kirk in this. And it creates a lot of problems because they would basically be gods, technological, despite the burn. The burn was 100 years. So,
and they were the Federation. There were other people that had different ways of traveling.
Yes,
faster.
they did.
They forgot about
that
those.
idea. Was so
they
stupid.
forgot about
I
that.
can't even believe
the Romulans being one of them.
Yeah,
they would control the universe. They would not have mind going on concrete. Everybody.
Romulus,
you know why they did that?
Romulus got blew up, though. Remember? So
There was a Variety article a long time ago that went deep dive in all the different Star Treks and everything, and it said they went so far into the future so that they could go. We would write something down and we go, and now that's canon. And that was they wanted power over the canon and control it. They could write whatever they wanted.
That's why they chose a prequel, and that's why they tried to force a female older sister on Spock. Who literally guides him to being Spock, who makes him Spock.
It's the man he is today.
Oh.
Some would say you made him the man he is today. Some would say go fuck yourself in the ass.
That's right. Well, a lot in the show. Robert, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Ellison, has it's bad enough that Skydance, a production company, and I know like you have nice things to say about Ellison as a production company. It's not bad. Skydance has done some good stuff. It's also done.
Yeah, but they made 3 horrible Star Trek films that bastardized the entire franchise.
Horrible Star Trek movies. So he is in charge now. Why hasn't he just canceled this?
Well, I would say that there are obviously Secret Hideout. They've got great contracts.
Yes.
And I would say their contracts, surprisingly enough, go all the way back to, and I don't know this for a fact because I haven't seen the contracts, but when you write a film, when you write something like Star Trek, one of the things that they hope to do, that Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams' company hoped to do when they took over the Star Trek franchise in 2009, was to take over the franchise. They even made an attempt to get rid of all other merchandising aside from their own stuff, which is interesting because they tried to pull the same shenanigans over at Disney with Star Wars. That's why C-3PO has a red arm, the Millennium Falcon, and which, by the way, the Millennium Falcon has a rectangular dish. Yeah, Shanana Wand.
You kind of Shanan me again.
Yeah, and it doesn't work that way. They might not be able to get rid of them. I think they had to finish shooting Strange New Worlds Season 5 by the end of the year. And I think Starfleet Academy. So there's nothing more to shoot because they fulfilled that. But now they have the guys who worked on Dungeons and Dragons, which I kind of like that movie, but I don't think that they understand what Star Trek is. And when you look at people like Ron Moore doing Battlestar Galactica and For All Mankind, or you look at a show like Pluribus, whether you like it or not, there's a lot of great thought behind it. And, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are 2 of the great TV shows of the 21st century. And when you have that team, when you have Vince Gilligan writing, I would love to see that happen. But I think they have to let those contracts end because they're pretty ironclad and they go all the way back. Alex Kurtzman co-wrote Star Trek 09. And I bet in that contract, that was why he was able to insinuate himself into Brian Fuller's version of Discovery.
That's why he and Jar Jar don't get along anymore. They're not pals at all.
No.
And I think that's the answer. I still think if there's a will, there's a way. You buy somebody out, and because every second of Kurtzman Trek that's made, like, just solidifies that it will never come back. I don't know how you bring this back, and you have to stop making Star Trek Harry Potter Star Trek or Marvel Star Trek or Star Wars Star Trek. You got to make it Star Trek.
You have to restore it, but I don't think. Here's my problem. I heard this. It totally makes sense. When The Simpsons came out, it was groundbreaking, and what Matt Groening and his team did was they were using that show to reflect on society, and now they're still involved. But I've heard somebody said to me, or I heard this. Somebody said, the people that write The Simpsons today are the people that grew up watching The Simpsons. And at the end of the day, what we really need is we need smart, educated, great writers and a great showrunner that Hollywood would accept or give the money to reinvent Star Trek and aspire to make it aspirational again. If there's ever a time, we live in a time where what Star Trek could do and what Twilight Zone could do, you could take a political divide, the right and the left, and you can tell them, as said, a morality tale. And if you do it well, that's a way to bring people together. That's a way to take a divided world and show them a human story that is truthful. And you can get people to come together.
Don't die on us.
I know, behind that story.
At least finish the sentence.
No,
but behind that story. That's what Star Trek and the Twilight Zone did.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.